Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are still working on King Lear, and today we get to hear from Gloucester in Act 1, Scene 2, and we're just focused on the secondary plot for right now, so we're not going to do a full recap of what's happening with King Lear himself. We're just going to remind you that Gloucester has two sons. One of them is legitimate and one of them is illegitimate. The illegitimate son, Edmund, is envious of his legitimate brother Edgar and wants to undo him so that he can inherit the Gloucester fortune instead of Edgar getting it. So he's setting things up, and he announces to the audience his plan yesterday that he's gonna if not illegitimize Edgar, at least make himself become legitimate. And then Gloucester comes in like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that Lear has like flipped his lid. And he sees Edmund do a quick like with a letter in a very obvious way. Like he wants to be caught, but he doesn't want to be caught hiding this letter because he wants Gloucester to ask about it, but he doesn't want to just say like, here, read this. So it works. And Gloucester's like, let me read that. And Edmund is like, oh, no, it's nothing, don't worry about it. And Gloucester's like, let me read it. And he's like, no, it's something from Edgar, and I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if it's appropriate for you. And Gloucester's like, let me read the letter. And Edmund is finally like, well, fine. So Gloucester is now in possession of the letter. I should make sure that this isn't anything really sensitive that I'm sharing. Anyway, it's not, it's fine. So Gloucester is now in possession of the letter, and he reads, "This policy and reverence of age makes the world bitter to the best of our times, keeps our fortunes from us till our oldness cannot relish them. I begin to find an idle and fond bondage in the oppression of aged tyranny, who sways not as it hath power, but as it is suffered. Come to me, that of this I may speak more. If our father would sleep till I waked him, you should enjoy half his revenue forever, and live the beloved of your brother, Edgar." Conspiracy? Sleep till I waked him, you should enjoy half his revenue. My son, Edgar, had he a hand to write this? A heart and brain to breed it in? When came you to this? Who brought it? So, not a very exciting monologue. It's reading a letter and then a little bit of aghastness at what's in it. But what this letter is saying is, and keep in mind, you, the audience, basically know that Edmund wrote this letter pretending that Edgar wrote it because he's setting Edgar up. But from the position of Edgar, who wrote the letter, what he's saying is that he's tired of like respecting our elders and letting them just live out these happy lives and die on their own, because that means that the next generation doesn't get their inheritance until they're too old to enjoy it. So then Edgar invites Edmund to come talk to him more and hints at killing Gloucester so that they can get their inheritance sooner as opposed to later. So understandably, Gloucester's like, wait, what? Edgar wants to kill me? Like, where did this come from? How did you get it? And Edmund's like, well, it was just snuck in my door. And Gloucester's like, is this his handwriting? Like, do you recognize the handwriting? It's like, yeah, it's his handwriting. I know his handwriting. It's definitely his. And Gloucester's like, oh my God. And Edmund is like, well, wait, hang on just a second. What you should do is make sure that this is what he actually thinks, because if you do something rash and violent now, then you'll never know what he was planning to do to you, or if he was planning to do something to you, like maybe he was just venting in this letter, something like that. So what needs to happen is we need to confirm that he wants to kill you. And Gloucester's like, yeah, that's probably wise. And Edmund is like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set things up so that I get to have a conversation with him while you're standing like right over there but out of sight, and you can hear me talk to him about exactly this topic, and then you'll know for yourself whether or not he intends to kill you. And Gloucester's like, oh, that's a good idea, let's do that. And Edmund's like, all right, I'll get it all set up. And then Gloucester gets to have a little bit of a monologue tomorrow about the state of the world that's it's an interesting commentary just put into this weird little moment, but we'll get more into that tomorrow. So, for the time being, recap, Gloucester's two sons, the bastard is setting up the non-bastard, framing him for intent to commit patricide. Yeah, good fun. Yay, King Lear. I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.